If this was a standard news analysis podcast, then I would go into this segment by telling you that Joe Biden and Donald Trump are just your average run-of-the-mill geriatrics who, one day to the next, think to themselves either, I hope I win this race, or, dear God, please take me now. I would also go on to say that there is no fundamental difference between the two, and the people who listen to this show would be docile, complacent, listen to this episode, and go about their day. However, because we don't cater to bullshit, and because we're not backed by the major network news or cable news outlets, we'll tell you that the so-called liberal media keeps pushing the repeatedly disproven narrative that Biden is a bumbling, sleepy idiot who doesn't know what he's doing, and that Trump's, at the moment, 88 criminal counts and multiple civil counts against him are just a stepping stone toward a probable second term. More on the fact that the number of criminal counts for a presidential candidate who has the endorsement of Nazis and white supremacists totals 88 on another episode. Despite the assertions in the Robert Hur report on Biden's handling of classified documents, proven not true by not only eyewitness accounts of Biden doing his presidential duties, but also the transcript of the deposition in said Hur investigation, the idea of Biden not being capable of handling the duties still resonates through not only the fringes on the internet, but also on the formerly reliable news networks. And, I've been planning this episode for some time. I didn't know when I was gonna do it. And there was no real one event that triggered me to say, okay, I'll just do this now. But before we get into some of the Trump legal stuff, I would like to focus on the coverage of Biden. Just to say that he's clearly not being covered. He's clearly not being covered the same. The news networks are still thinking it's the 70s and the 80s. I would say when you have just two men running for president, like I said, who ideally would be the same, but in this case they're not. And the news networks and unfortunately the American populace just seems to gloss it over.
What you have, Tom, in my opinion, is the media bending over backwards to show how fair they are. But by doing so, they are not reporting accurately. So in their efforts to be fair and play both sides, they're not doing their job to provide an accurate portrayal of the two candidates. One is a overweight liar, but we're not talking about him being a liar. Let's just talk about his age. He's in his 70s. He's a liar. Joe Biden is a handful of years older. What is he, 3-4 years older?
Yeah, he's 80, 81.
Yeah, we've seen Joe successfully walk up a ramp that Trump needed an escort to take. Yeah, so what? That Trump plays golf. He gets in a cart between holes, between him getting from his ball to where he says his ball is when he's cheating on the golf course. Nobody says anything about Joe's health other than what's imagined by the media. Yes, he stumbles through some sentences. So does everybody else.
Right. And we're not 81. It doesn't matter, right? We stumble now and we're way younger.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not saying that age isn't an issue, but it's an issue for both people.
Right. Yeah. And I agree with you, Jeff. Age should not be the differentiator because it isn't. It's a 4-year difference. And so they should assume they're the same. And then we should talk about policy and humanity and who they are and who has the ability and capability to run this nation. It has nothing to do with their age. Of course, it would be great if we had, some slightly younger people engaged and hyper and interested in doing it, and they could just go off and play more golf, but we don't.
Yeah. 4 years is not that big of a difference. It is not middle school.
Right. Right. Yeah, that difference ends pretty much after college. Right? Like after your 20s or so, 4 years is the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Trump and Biden potentially could have been in the same high school together as freshmen and seniors. So to me, it's the same person just talking about different policies.
I think of the two, though, Trump would be more liable to be held back. So him being the younger, maybe he'd still be in grade school when Biden graduates.
And then his father would have made a contribution for a new pool, and then they would have advanced him.
As long
He's
as
like-
this teacher wasn't Paul Giamatti from The Holdovers.
That's right.
I was thinking more Billy Madison. Downtown, bring you down.